YouTube, and Twitter. Tonight, the Red Sox rout the Tigers by a score of 10-3. The Sox hit 3 home runs. Brian Bello excels out of the bullpen. Tonight, I'm joined by both James and Will to break down this Red Sox win. How are we doing tonight, guys?
Man, someone pinch me, wake me up. Something is not right. Something's, spring has sprung here in Boston, 70 degrees. Sox are winning. Unreal. Hitting homers, played some small ball. Bayo, we're gonna jump into Bayo, but an actual good Bayo outing. Like, I must be dreaming. I have to be dreaming at this point. That's crazy. Valdez, we get to Valdez early, and he's out in the 4th inning. Unreal. Just a great game overall. I'm excited for tonight's show. But yeah, I'm on cloud 9 right now.
I don't know what went further, Wilson Contreras' bat flip or his 449-foot bomb to the moon. He sent them both into orbit. And ultimately, I think that's what ticked Framber off to get him to throw it Story. That was total clown behavior, just drilling a fastball right at Story. And Cespedes Barbecue on Twitter, that was the first registered 4-seam fastball that Framber Valdez threw all season. So seems just a little bit intentional, but great offensive outburst for the Sox tonight. I think Rafaela gets buried in all this after the back-to-back homers. Framber, Bayo, the homer early, 4 RBIs total on the night. Just a complete hit parade for the entire offense and a great night overall. And Bayo was very solid as well.
Tonight I had fun. I had a lot of fun. The Red Sox finally went out there, put up good at bats, routed the Tigers early. They really put what was it, like 4 or 5 straight hits against Framber Valdez. He was looking frustrated all day long. The Red Sox were hitting the ball hard. They were hitting the ball out of the ballpark. This was finally something to root for. Actually, keep my eyes focused on the screen all 9 innings long. I was very excited to watch this game, and I'm very excited to talk about this game. So, guys, where do you want to start? I want to talk about Framber Valdez, honestly.
That's where I want to get right into Framber.
Exactly.
Right into Framber.
So if you want to just get with the backstory here, he was basically frustrated. He gave up a couple home runs. You brought up the Wilson Contreras home run that went 449 feet. He bat flipped. It was an absolute bomb. And when you hit the ball that far, that high, off a good pitcher like that, you could do whatever you want. I really don't care about the bat flips and showing up the pitcher like that. But Framber Valdez,
look at the score too. Like, it's not like it was a one. Yeah.
Framber Valdez was upset with himself, but he sucked tonight, and he put the 4-seam fastball of the night in right between the numbers of Trevor Story, and obviously that was on purpose. And obviously you're going to come out, and we're going to the benches are going to clear. So you guys want to talk about that, because this is a really exciting thing. Maybe something that has to happen to spark this team. So it didn't have. It couldn't have happened on a better day.
I loved every second of it. Yes, it sucks to see Story get hit like that too, but if you're Valdez, like, let me harp on this for just a quick second, right? We saw what happened when he was with Houston. I believe it was September of last year, with that cross up with Cesar Salazar. Is that right? The catcher, where he asked him to move back, and Valdez threw to Trent Grisham grand slam, and then he throws a fastball right to his catcher when catcher was expecting a change up or an off speed, and threw some 4-seam right at him. So he has a long history of being a total dick. And tonight was no exception. Tonight was, it showed who he was, right? If I'm a Tigers fan, I'm looking at him and I'm going, man, we just lost Skubal for at least, a good chunk of time, at least a month, maybe 2 months. Our bullpen is taxed. We need Valdez to go out there and eat innings. And not only did he not eat innings, he did not pitch. And he let a really, so far, bad offense get, swing the bat. And now back to the Red Sox side of things. Awesome to see the fight. Awesome to see that reaction after Story gets hit by a pitch. Contreras looked like he was ready to go out there and little Tim Anderson, Valdez up there.
I think Contreras tried to do that in a few weeks ago against Milwaukee, and it obviously didn't really work after he got hit by a pitch. I think they were looking for a reason to get something going, and this totally gave them a reason to maybe get a spark going. And going back to Valdez, completely childish and immature. The incident in Houston last year cost him many millions of dollars in years on that contract. There's a reason why he signed a 3-year deal and why he signed it so late in February instead of at the winter meetings in December, and why he didn't sign a 6 or 7 year deal. Because if you look at the numbers on the back of the baseball card the last 4 or 5 years, he's been one of the better pitchers, especially left-handers, in all of Major League Baseball. And he's been dynamite in the playoffs too. It's not just he was a regular season merchant. He's been great across the board since 21. So, it's one of those things where teams really took into account his personality, his immaturity, and that was on full display tonight. Granted, I don't think he was super long for the game, given that he had given up 10 runs, but it's still like, at that point, you just let him wear it and save the bullpen as much as he can, especially with losing Skubal for a few months yesterday. And the fact that he went out there and his feelings were hurt because he kept giving up runs and Contreras bat flipped on him and he gave up back-to-back homers. And it was so intentional. He didn't even try to hide it. It's not like he threw a slider or a curveball. He threw his first registered 4-seam fastball of the season right in between the numbers. And anytime you go up in that area, even if you're not hitting the head, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, get a grip. Like, this is Major League Baseball. This is not high school baseball. You're playing your rival on a Friday night. Like, what are we doing here? It was so clear. He has a reputation around the game, and I understand the Red Sox for being upset. And the Tigers broadcast, after the fact, they were talking about, oh, it didn't seem intentional. Like, that doesn't look like a guy who had any malice or intent. Like, Jason Benetti as a play-by-play guy is one of the best in the game. He and their color guy should know better than that. And I know they're trying to stick up for their team. I'm sure that was clear as day, super intentional. Would not be surprised if he got suspended for it. And I understand why they have to give warnings, but that was a free pass to hit someone that Bello just didn't have the leeway to do. Like, baseball is a game where it polices itself. Among any other sport, that is the sport that does it the most. And Bello just didn't have the leeway to do that. But he pitched great tonight, so that's a side point. But it's just like, what are we doing here? Wouldn't be surprised if somebody got plunked tomorrow for the Tigers.
It says a lot that after the whole bench is cleared and kind of separated, the umpires got together and Adam Beck, gave him like the nonchalant, hey, you're out of here. And Valdez walked straight out. There was no pushback.
No argument. He was like,
I knew it. Yep.
Honestly, he might have done that because he wanted to leave. He was done with getting embarrassed.
Whatever it is, there's better ways of leaving a ball game than plunking the other team.
So the Tigers were in the middle of their third straight bullpen game, basically. And I bet you AJ Hinch basically told Framber Valdez, you're going to go out there and eat 6 innings tonight, no matter how many runs you give up. And Framber Valdez basically was sick of it and said, I'm getting tossed. I don't care who I hit. This next pitch is at this guy's head or in their back. I want out of this game. And that was his way out of it. It wasn't because he was frustrated. It was because, screw you, AJ Hinch. I'm not sitting here for 6 innings getting my ERA destroyed. I want out. And that's my theory.
I agree with you, but I don't think he was even directed at AJ Hinch. I think his feelings were hurt because his pride was hurt that he was getting shelled and he couldn't take the fact that he was continuing to get rocked and didn't have an answer tonight. So he was like, screw it. I'm going to take my anger out with the baseball and hit somebody. Like, and it's a dangerous thing when pitchers get in that mode because they can be pinpoint accurate when they want to. And I don't, the Tigers broadcast was also talking about, they didn't, they understood why the Red Sox were upset, but the umpire shouldn't throw Valdez out because the Red Sox were complaining. Why do you think they're complaining? Because they threw it right in between the numbers. The story, it was clear as day that it was intentional. What do you mean? If the shoe was on the other foot, you would be all up in arms.
If they didn't throw Valdez out of the game, the next pitch would have been in the same spot in the next hitter. He wanted out of that game.
Absolutely.
It didn't matter what you did. He would have kept throwing balls in the backs of players until he was tossed.
I also loved how Middlebrooks, like it's probably 2 minutes after the scrum, was like, oh, Contreras' ball finally landed. Hopefully Valdez doesn't cross up his catcher now. Like, I thought that was hilarious that anyone paying attention and like, you had to hear it right in the moment, but I was like, that's great. Like, he knew exactly what Valdez was doing and exactly what was going on. And I don't think anyone in Houston or New York or anywhere else is surprised that this happened with Framber Valdez in particular. Like, if it was any other pitcher, we might give him some leeway. We might be like, look, it was intentional, whatever, heat of the moment. Like, there have been multiple heat of the moment incidents. And I don't think there were some things in the clubhouse in Houston last year that I don't think were great for Framber that probably a reason why they didn't re-sign him. And it's like, you got a reputation that precedes you. Like, this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. So, tough shake for Hinch in Detroit, obviously being put in that position going into the game tomorrow, because Flaherty has not lasted long in his last few starts, didn't last long in his previous start in Boston. So they might be on the ropes again tomorrow with the pen.
As for the Red Sox, you have to go out there and play like this is a must-win game tomorrow. Go out there, destroy, win the game. You get this momentum and take this momentum and bring it somewhere. 16-21 is a big difference from a couple days ago when you're 13-21 or whatever it was. This
Yeah.
is a big difference. I'm not saying this team is good. I'm saying this is something it's a building block that you can kind of take momentum off this exact game. You scored 10 runs. You had a benches clearing brawl. I'm not really calling it a brawl, but the bench is cleared. But you have something to build on. You have to take advantage of it. Tomorrow, you have to, if it's Sonny Gray or whoever it is, you have to go out there and pitch well because momentum's only as good as your next starting pitcher.
Yeah, absolutely. And the schedule overall in May lightens up a bit. So it's like you sweep this series, maybe split at home with Tampa and get your footing right before the Atlanta series. It's like you never know what can happen.
Right. Yeah. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about with Valdez? I mean, this was the most runs he's ever given up in his career, 10 runs. And he was obviously responsible for Story that he plunked. So he was awful. I don't have much else besides it was an embarrassing outing for him. And I don't know how it's going to work out for him going forward because I think there's going to be a lot more to this story coming out. Hopefully the Tigers can keep it in-house, but I don't see that happening.
I just want to mention too, it's like, I want the Red Sox to internalize the fact that they just beat up Valdez, right? Like that's not no one. And it could have been easy to go out there and string together a couple runs and, call it a day, whatever. They put ass to belt with Valdez and it was awesome. And that's the type of like mentality you could just see Contreras and Willier when they went back to back. They're confident. They want to go out there and destroy the baseball, bring that tomorrow and bring that into the Tampa series that we desperately need to at least split.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Great to see the offensive outburst. It's always funny to see how in these games there's one or two guys that don't get a hit, and no surprise that ICAF was one of them. The other guy, Jaron Duran, probably the hottest hitter on the planet the last 4 games. But overall, I completely agree. Completely visualize that you just beat up on one of the better left-handers in the game who took it to you at Fenway in the middle of April. Go out there tomorrow, take care of business with Tampa Bay coming to town, AL East play starting to pick up. You never know what can happen. And just keep it going from there. And they did this without Roman, without Marcelo, and without Yoshida tonight. 3 of their better hitters on paper.
And I guess the next thing I want to talk about is the actual power that came out of this tonight. We saw a 449-foot home run. We just talked about that. We saw 2 other home runs, the Ceddanne Rafaela opposite field 3-run homer in the first inning, which was huge. 3 home runs. That's something that's very encouraging going forward. It's still, I'm not expecting a lot of home runs for this team, but the numbers are starting to actually rise from historically bad to somewhat competent. Wilson Contreras with 8 home runs. That's a real number. Abreu is up to 5. Jaron Duran is up to 4. So these guys are starting to have real numbers. Ceddanne Rafaela hit his 2nd of the year today. What are your thoughts on that? I really like the opposite field home run for Ceddanne Rafaela. I think it was a really good swing. If you recall the pitch prior, the first pitch or the pitch right prior to the home run, it was a stolen base. It was right down the middle and he let it go. And that was a pitch that I thought he was going to want back because it was a pitch I thought he could pull and drive. The next one was a sinker that he hit Oppo out. So I thought it was really impressive that he realized that he could take that pitch, let the runner get to second base, and then he still identified another pitch, hit it out the right field. I don't think he was trying to hit that ball out. I think he was trying to shoot a gap, and he put a really good swing on it to carry it out of there. So I think that was a really big swing, and hopefully that when we're going to get into it tonight, Rafael had 3 hits, 4 RBIs. He had a really good game, and hopefully that kind of ignites a heater for him because he could carry an offense when he's hot.
He absolutely can. And now that makes back-to-back nights with opposite field home runs after not hitting one since April 2nd before last night. Just awesome to see in the first inning. I'm completely with you. I don't think he was trying to aim for the fences there, but good bat on ball and good things happen, right? And having that first inning momentum before your pitcher, your opener, before Moran even stepped foot on the mound and having a 3-run lead, that's always a beautiful thing. Now, did Moran hold the lead? I mean, ultimately, yes, but still, we could talk a lot about his performance too. Either way, love the power that we're seeing tonight and yesterday too. It is a bummer that we didn't see Duran do anything besides strike out 3 times tonight. But if Ceddanne can get hot and just be consistent at the plate, like he somewhat has shown already this season, adding a little more power to his repertoire, like we saw in the middle of last year, would ignite this offense.
Yeah. So Chris Catilla just tweeted, Chad Tracy says he's sure Framber Valdez threw at Trevor Story intentionally. Quote, it was weak. So there you have it from the manager himself.
Good.
No, and getting back to the power, they were at a historically low pace going into this series, really going into the Astros series on Friday. Nice to see, everyone starting to do it, not just Duran and not just Contreras or Abreu, like it's been Rafaela getting in on the mix as well. Duran overall the last 3 or 4 games prior to this only had one homer, so very nice to see. Contreras is playing at an all-star clip right now. The Red Sox, let's face it, they're probably only going to have one all-star at this rate. And right now, I'd probably say it's going to be Contreras. I mean, first base has been a down position in the American League this year, and he's hitting 270 with an 850 OPS and 8 bombs. Like he's doing his part, that's for sure. So it's
I'm going
nice
to
to see
disagree
him.
on the one all-star. Aroldis Chapman's doing something special again that he did last year.
He might not be here by the All-Star game. That
could be true too.
Yeah. That I agree with you on Chapman, but it's like if things continue to go the way they went prior to this series, like they might get out in front of it and trade him early, and that would be the smart thing to do.
I'm throwing Willier in that debate too for all-star appearances, but
sure.
I get your point though with Contreras.
Yeah.
I gotta say even today too, seeing both Contreras and Willier, obviously we spoke about the homers, but they also were on base. Contreras was on base 3 times tonight, Abreu 4 times. That's what you want to see from your 2 and 3 hitters. No matter who you're facing or what the lineup looks like, that's what you need from your 2 and 3 and more. But that's what I love. You can build a lineup around those two pretty confidently.
Yeah, and it's like keep hitting for power, keep trying to have an approach. Nice to see the opposite field power take effect, and they need to hit the long ball obviously, and it's going to have to be multiple guys. They can't just rely on Contreras or Abreu to carry them. The team is not built on 1 or 2 sluggers. They're going to have to 1 through 9 piece it together. So hopefully it can be infectious throughout the lineup and kind of carry on.
Of course, yeah. Do you guys have anything about this offense really? Because I hope it carries over tomorrow. Jack Flaherty. It's nothing special to me. I know the Red Sox have faced him again this season, so I think that's an advantage for him. But I really do want to get into Brian Bello because I was impressed after the opener. If you want to just get into his stat line right now, he went 7 innings in relief, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, basically 1 walk and 7 Ks. He had 10 whiffs today. The arsenal wasn't anything really different than normal. He's tried almost everything. One thing we could point out is his 3rd different hairstyle of the season. Maybe this is the one that works. Who knows?
3rd time's the charm.
I do think that the opener kind of gave him a chance to relax, maybe just gave him a different mindset. And obviously the 3-run lead as well helps. But he kind of just went out there, relaxed, threw the ball over the plate and pitched the contact. But when you have a big lead, you obviously relax. But he did seem more confident today with an opener. So I think he's going to get another chance. But with Sonny Gray coming back tomorrow, where exactly does he fit going forward? That's kind of the question I have for you guys. You can kind of break down what he had today. And then do you still think he gets an opportunity? And if he does, is it as a starter or is it back as a bulk guy kind of?
It's tough. On paper, Bello looked incredible. And yes, he was incredible. He was aggressive. He was dominant. He was confident too, which we haven't really seen from him yet this year. It looked like he knew exactly where he wanted to throw each pitch, and he was delivering. And then also too, his tempo. He had a good tempo going. It was a little bit faster than what we've seen all season, and it was working, right?
It helps when you pitch with a lead.
Well, so I was going to say there are a few elements here where I'm not taking this and going, wow, he deserves a starting position in our starting rotation, right? Next time around the order, I want to see him in the same kind of opener role. And again, like you said too, it does help when your team puts 10 on the board and you hold them to 3. But still, this was a very positive sign in terms of my confidence level in Bello. But once again, next time through the order, keep him in this opener role. That's all I want to see him right now until he really proves something.
Yeah, and Nick, I know you mentioned he had the 10 whiffs, and he's had other starts this year. I think that first Houston start, he had 16 or 17, where his whiffs have been higher, but 7 strikeouts, that's a season high. He had 5 in his first start of the season and then didn't have more than 4 until tonight. So obviously the total whiffs were down, but the strikeouts were up. And I think that's a big thing too. He's pitching with tempo, pitching with confidence. Obviously it helps when you're pitching with a 6-7 run lead for the majority of your outing, but it's like, it was so great to see. Like just, he was relaxed. I think he was calm. Maybe he took it as a breath of fresh air and it's like, all right, he could press the reset button. But going forward, it's tough because obviously Sonny Gray will probably go tomorrow. And if he doesn't, he's certainly coming back very, very soon, Thursday or Friday. And it's like, you can't take Toley out of the rotation at this point. I mean, he's been phenomenal. So it becomes a spot. Do you go with a 6-man rotation? Do you have Bello be your length guy out of the bullpen in kind of a bullpen game-ish type role? I don't know. He needs to string together a lot more than just tonight, but tonight was definitely a step in the right direction in terms of his pitch mixage and usage as well, and just the overall confidence that he had.
Personally think once everybody's back and healthy, that's Sonny Gray, that's Garrett Crochet, that's everybody, and Ranger Suarez as well. So I think the plan at the moment is Sonny Gray is going to hopefully go tomorrow. Jake Bennett's going to go into Ranger Suarez spot, and then Ranger Suarez will only miss one start going forward, and then he'll be back in his next scheduled start. And then once that happens, where does Brayan Bello fit? Because then you have 5 guys with Garrett Crochet coming back for a 6th. Once Garrett Crochet's back, you have to make a decision on Peyton Tolle and Brayan Bello. I can't send Peyton Tolle back down no matter what.
Tolle's your future. Yeah.
Peyton Tolle's right now probably your 3rd or 2nd best pitcher, and that's with Garrett Crochet. Without Garrett Crochet, he's definitely in the top 2. Like, at least right now, who I want out on the mound. I just, how is this going to face out? Like, how is this going to shape up once Garrett Crochet's back? Ranger Suarez doesn't seem like he's going to miss much time. And then Sonny Gray. Obviously, you kind of want to trade Sonny Gray. I think that's the plan. Hopefully, he comes back, he pitches well, and then it sets you up somewhere that you could trade him by the deadline time. But if these guys are not hurt, you're going to have at least 7 or 6 guys for 5 spots. And I don't know how that's going to shape up.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think overall you'd want to trade Gray while he's healthy and hopefully on somewhat of a high note when he gets back. Assuming things keep trending the way they're trending with the trajectory of the season, you can't tiptoe around Bello or bend over backwards for Bello because of the contract. You have to go with your best 5, and Tolle is not only one of your best right now, he's your best going forward for the next half decade. Same with Early. And then Suarez and Crochet once he's healthy. Crochet being on the IL might throw a wrinkle in it because I do think Bello will get more of a run than Bennett obviously would at this point. So it's like, when it comes to that, they might reshuffle the order and have Bello take the spot that Bennett took for Crochet in the rotation and whatnot and kind of work things out that way. And things can always be manipulated by the off days too. Like they have an off day on Monday, then an off day on the 21st, an off day on the 25th. So it's like you don't have to go. You could go with a full 5-man rotation for a bit and then an off day again on June 1st. So it's like you have 4 off days in the span of like 21 days. You don't necessarily have to go with. You don't necessarily need 6 guys. You can really manipulate it with 5, use some guys out of the bullpen. Maybe Bennett goes back down to Worcester just to stay on regular rest. There's a lot that they can do, and it's also going to depend on the record of the team.
Yeah, you look at the starting rotation, fully healthy, if that is, whenever that may be. Bello is that odd man out in terms of performance. Like I said, tonight too, nothing but tonight has me convinced that he has earned that starting rotation spot anymore. But again, there is something there, right? There is something
analyzing,
there.
Right?
It really is like up for conversation, but for me, it's just like, no, when everyone's healthy, I don't want to see Bello in the starting rotation. The same thing that we were saying after his last start and the start before that, and every start of his so far this season, where we're like, this guy is not major league level starter material.
Yeah, I need to see it for like 6 starts in a row. Like I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here. Me personally, I would not put him back in the rotation. Like he would need to have a full second half of 24 from that start in Miami in early July on to like actually make me believe again that all right, this is the guy that we're going to see, or the guy from June to August last year. Like and he hasn't, tonight he was good, but besides that, he hasn't come close to that. So I'm not anywhere close to getting back on that ship yet.
A low leverage bulk roll against a mediocre offense of the Tigers didn't do anything for me tonight. He had a big lead all night. He worked under no pressure. I'm not putting him under. I'm not putting in a game that I really need him to win. He's a bulk reliever at the moment in my mind. If you don't want to send him to Worcester, fine. If you think he's the 26th man on the roster, okay. But I think what's going to do well for him in his future is to send him down to Worcester, let him keep starting down there, let him find something. But right now, if he's just the bulk guy, that might be what he is. If he's going to help the major league roster, I don't know.
I just don't want to hear Chad Tracy or anyone else come out and be like, well, we do have that Bello start coming up, so we need to work around that. He should not be a guy that you work around in your starting rotation or any kind of pitching plan. Not saying that we're hearing any of that, in recent days, but I just don't want it to get to that point. He had a good stat line today, but again, everything about today's game kind of nerfs his stat line, at least in terms of the value that I look at it with.
Yeah, he struggled mightily this year. Like we're
Yep.
gonna have to see it on an extended run until we can believe in it again. And tip my cap to him. He did it. He did it tonight when I think a lot of people didn't believe in him, myself included. So it's like glad to see that. But we need to see it continually go on and on and on.
I like Middlebrooks after the game. He goes, I don't think that we can track the stat, but if we can track his stats per haircut, it'd be really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
So it looks like Sonny Gray is official tomorrow.
Great.
If you want to, so it'll be Sonny Gray versus Jack.
Yeah, he's
Flaherty.
listed on the Red Sox probable pitchers.
Yes, so it's Sonny Gray versus Jack Flaherty. I don't know exactly what the move is. It sounds like Jake Bennett still has one more start in him for the Rangers-Warriors start, so I don't think he will be the corresponding move. Do you guys have an idea who the corresponding move would be? Gamboa did have a clause in his contract, right? That's the reason why he's up here. He had a mobility clause or something where if the Red Sox didn't put him on the major league roster, he had a chance to jump ship somewhere else. Does that still count as long as he was called up for one game? Can he go back down?
I'm sure it still counts, but let's be real. The Red Sox have bigger fish to fry, whether Gamboa is still in the organization after tomorrow or not. Like, he is not a needle mover, not a difference maker. He's your sixth man in the bullpen. Like, who cares?
Now,
if they lose him, they lose him.
Is it Gamboa or is it Watson? Because right now it's one outing, but Watson does nothing for me. Who would you rather lose?
Well, he has to stay on the roster as a Rule 5 guy.
Right.
Well, so, if you're choosing one to give away, if Gamboa's gone, if you send him back down and he has an opportunity to jump ship, I don't know the exact rule. You're choosing between one of them, basically. If you'd rather give up Watson, I'd rather give up Watson.
If we had to choose one, I'd probably go with Watson if we had to choose one, but with clauses and everything else, I don't think that is going to be the move.
So Cotillo's tweet was he had an assignment - opt-out clause, and there was interest elsewhere, so the Red Sox appear to be selecting him to the 40-man. So it must have been a clause for the 40-man. So if they send him down, He's still on the 40-man.
All right, then that's fine then. Go ahead, send him down. Yeah,
because
Gray obviously shout out to him tonight then. You want to shout out Alvin Gamboa for making his major league debut?
Sure. No, I was impressed. I wasn't trying to go, like, I was just saying if that's the move for Gray, then it is what it is. But he was good for him. He was taking it all in before the game. Was a cool clip, and happy to see him have that inning and succeed.
I gotta say, I think baseball, one of the many things that makes baseball stand out is always watching the family's reaction to an MLB debut, seeing his stepmom, and I believe it was probably his brother, if I had to guess. I didn't mention it. They were literally in tears watching his outing tonight in the 9th inning, and that's just always really cool to watch. But congrats to him on making his debut. Yeah, 2 strikeouts, 9th inning, shutdown. Good stuff.
Yeah, was with the Dodgers, got released last year, then went to South Korea, and now he's making his major league debut. So long road, but good for him, and hopefully we see him again this season, assuming he goes down tomorrow.
So I don't have much else tonight, but I do have some final thoughts about Christian Campbell in today's his game.
Yeah.
Yes.
He hit a home run off Carlos Rodon to about left center, and then he hit a 100-mile-per-hour double to left center as well. So 2 pulled balls, crushed, hard hit exit velocities. We got some good quotes from his AAA manager today where he looks like he has a swagger back, basically, is what he said. So maybe that's an option going forward for the Red Sox pretty soon. I don't know. I don't know exactly where he played, but we did get some quotes out this morning about there was an opportunity, or there was a chance, or at least some talk that Caleb Durbin would be optioned. I don't know if that was actually going to come to fruition, but I guess there was some talk in the Red Sox organization that could be an option. But he did have a good day today, so I don't know.
Yeah, but where go Will? And then
no, you and I are going to say the same thing.
Where is he going to play?
Yeah, I don't know. So I think if you get that, what happens there is Marcelo Meyer goes to third base, and then Christian Gamble goes to second base. The other story we had today,
there. That's the problem.
I know. The other story that came out today was Alex Cora and Breslow had conflicting opinions on where Caleb Durbin and Marcelo Meyer wanted to play. So it sounded like Alex Cora wanted Marcelo Meyer at second base and Caleb Durbin at third, and Breslow wanted the opposite, and Cora went with his way. It doesn't sound like they're going to change it at the moment, but
And-
that is pretty interesting to me. But if you get into the defensive metrics, they've been as great as
I was
can
going to
be.
say, Cora
So-
was
Yeah.
right. Cora was
Yeah.
absolutely right on that.
Yeah.
That-
Maybe it gets back to it where Breslow really wants Marcelo Meyer on the left side of the infield. If you want him on the left side of the infield, it should be shortstop, but maybe he does move him to third base because he's stuck in his ways.
Wouldn't this just also show that they picked the wrong guy? Breslow's the guy that's still here, and clearly he was wrong about that, and he's been adamant about defensive pitching. It's like, yeah, Cora was right. So, that's a different soapbox tangent discussion, but it's like Cora got his way and he was right. And I talk about a guy who was a great defender, look no further than AC at multiple positions. He has a feel for that and knows. So, no, very impressive from Campbell tonight. I look at his prospect savant almost every day. There's a lot more red that's showing up on his prospect savant. His ex-WOBA map is phenomenal in terms of just a lot of red. But I don't know where he's going to play. Like I want him to play at second base. This isn't something where I'm like a proponent of him not playing I'm a proponent, play him at second base. I don't care how bad it was last year. This is probably going to be a lost season. Just let him develop and learn here. And if it's really bad, then you reshuffle from there because you don't have a spot for him in the outfield, but they're not playing him at second or third in Worcester. So you can't, if you call him up and just throw him to the Wolves at second or third, you put the kid in an unfair position because it's like, you're not letting him do it at Worcester where there's no pressure for 2.5 months before you call him up. And it's like, yeah, come to Boston, even though it's a lost season there, there's always going to be eyes on you playing at Fenway and play second base like that. That's unfair. You're not putting him in the right position or the right headspace. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't like that.
I think that's the way they work him in after the trade deadline.
I was going to say
he needs to be up here long before July 31st.
He does. And again, echoing the second base importance too. He's blocked in the outfields on all three positions. Not only with Duran, who's currently still on the team, but
blocked on the bench for bench outfielders.
Absolutely. Get him up here. Get him playing second base. We've been preaching it on the show almost the entire season already. I make it sound like it's been a year and a half, but that's what it feels like. It's been a month. We've been preaching on the show. Get Campbell up here. Get him in second base. Get him the reps that he needs to actually become an MLB caliber second baseman.
You signed him to the contract for a reason. 8 years, $60 million for a player that the caliber that you think he is an absolute bargain, and you know that, and everyone in baseball knows that. And has it worked out so far? No. There's a long way to go. That doesn't mean it's not going to work out, but give it a chance to work. Because if he's going to be up here, it's going to be because of his bat. But you're going to have to play him somewhere in the field. You're not going to turn him into a DH. Like there's not a spot for him at DH either with the outfield situation, and especially with Roman right now. So it's like you play him at second base.
Talk about the Roman news because I don't know if it was good or bad, to be honest. It's a
wrist sprain.
A wrist sprain, usually 6 to 10 days is kind of what I found on that. There's a reason why he's not going on the IL because it is in that 6 to 10 day window. Obviously, he's not coming back to Detroit, so it's not going to play tomorrow. The earliest we could possibly see him is tomorrow or the next day, Thursday, but I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe this weekend, in my mind, would be optimistic at best. Maybe he gets in against the Rays. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, obviously. I wasn't in the room with him, but it's a good news that he's not going in the IL, but it's also bad news he's not on his way back to Detroit and in the lineup tomorrow. So you can look at it two ways.
I think this whole thing is just precautionary. I don't think we see him even for the Tampa Bay series. We might see him that Monday, the fourth game of the series.
But at that point, why not just IL him? Because then you'd only miss the Philly series.
I mean, you could, there is a reason why they're not ILing him, but even with Chad's comments before the game, it almost sounded like, right now we're not ILing him, right? It's not exactly. We won't. It's like, as of right now, we'll not.
We'll get back to Boston, get treatment before the game on Thursday and see how he is Thursday afternoon. Maybe.
And they can always retroactively add him too.
Correct.
And
you get 3 days maximum on the retroactive. So they really don't lose anything until Friday if they wait to make the move.
And also too, I mean, just with this team right now, with how Duran's playing, how with Sadon's playing too, I just don't see the real rush. Also, I mean, we're not playing great baseball. There's no rush to get him back here. There's no, hey, tough it out.
We're probably going to be riding high because these games fooled us, and then Tampa's going to come into town and kick our teeth in like they always do, and it's going to be snap back to reality.
It was like that 17-run, the 10-run ninth inning a few weeks ago.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, guys, I don't got much else. Do you have anything else you wanted to bring up? I know the Roman thing. I bet it is precautionary, but the way they're wording it's a little weird to me. But you never know. But
Yeah, I
besides
do
that, go ahead.
I have one quick thing on the offense. I liked how they were relentless tonight. They didn't feel sorry for themselves after, they put up the 3 spot in the top of the first. Moran immediately spotted Detroit 2 there. They didn't feel sorry for themselves. They didn't continue to not add on. They put up a 5 spot and a 3 spot. It wasn't like they just kept tacking on one here, one there, and held on to a 6-4 win. They immediately, had 1 or 2 shutout innings, but then 5 and a 3 spot immediately after the fact. They put the game out of reach. We haven't seen that much this year. It was nice to see the offense continuing to add on to a lead, and in a big way, not just one here, go dormant for 3 innings, another 2 here, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a continuation of yesterday's game as well. You fall in the hole early on, and long history this season of once you lose the lead, you lose. Game's over. And then even tonight too, we never lost the lead necessarily, but there was a moment in the top of the second after Moran gives up 2 runs, and you're like, oh man, it's going to be another one of these torturous nights hearing Will Fleming talk about the Calhoun for 9 innings. No, I'm glad the offense shut him up about that and put the game to bed pretty early.
Yeah, I'd love some Calhoun right now. So
I would too, but not from Will Fleming.
I guess my final thoughts are: go ahead and sweep the series for the first time. Go ahead and sweep a series for the first time all season. If you do that, you have a chance to not be in last place again. Both the Toronto Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles are 16-20, and you're sitting at 15-21. So you could be tied with them going in tomorrow. And then, if you can get inch back to 500 by mid-May, you might get me believing again. You never know. But that's kind of my final thought. And I don't have much else, guys. So if you guys don't have anything else, that'll be the show tonight. This show will be uploaded on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you can also find it on YouTube and Twitter. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back soon.